Beware, I live.
Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
It's RiverCityGamers.
I'm kidding, it's gaming news.
You stole my intro.
Gaming news! So real.
So I'm just going to start off with the fuck this guy section of gaming news. I'm not even going to mention his name. He doesn't deserve it. Guy from IGN plagiarized a shit ton of things and got fired.
Fuck, I heard.
Okay, where's that image from It's Always Sunny? And it's just like, I can't stand this guy anymore. I can't stand looking at this guy. It's that guy. Basically.
Yeah, didn't he like steal like word for word reviews from like Boomstick?
Oh no, it gets worse than that. Like that was the instigator that just caused him to get fired. But people dug deeper, and this dude actually was like, "Hey, go find it." He actually encouraged people to find it, and that backfired because he plagiarized a lot of stuff.
I have a list.
All right, good.
Dead Cells review, plagiarized Boomstick Gaming. FIFA 18 review, plagiarized Nintendo Life. Bayonetta 2, plagiarized Polygon. Metroid Samus Returns review, plagiarized Engadget. Octopath Traveler review, copied from Polygon and another IGN employee. Fire Emblem preview, copied from Nintendo Wire. Switch Rumble explanation, copied from a NeoGAF post. E3 Fire Emblem Warriors, copied from Goomba Stomp. Pokken Tournament DX, copied from the Iris. Mario vs. Rabbids, copied from Nintendo Wire. Super Mario Odyssey, copied from the Sydney Morning Herald. Sonic Mania, copied from Nintendo Life and True Achievements. Pokken Tournament DX review, copied from a Wikipedia article. And his LinkedIn profile, plagiarized from a job template site.
Who the fuck uses LinkedIn? I can't believe I actually got to use that quote.
Like, Jesus Christ! Like,
it's unbelievable how fucking trash this guy is. Usually, I like being like relatively like positive. Sometimes on podcasts, really depends. Usually, I can be negative, but like, no, I'm hard negative this guy because this guy fucking deserves it.
I mean,
how are you in this field? I'm sorry, Zero, but how are you in this field without doing your actual fucking work? Like, one of the things you learn in school, one of the earliest things you learn when you get into writing and everything, you do not fucking plagiarize. You don't. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in high school that still kind of did, where you just like change the words up a little, or if you have to quote something, you cite your work. It's one of the most important things if you're going into the writing field to do. And this guy just said, nah, just all I have to do is change the words a little bit, and then no one would really notice. But it's so blatant. Like, a lot of the key words from all those reviews, he still took, and that made it stand out so much. Because, like, he kind of rearranges it a little bit, but it's still not his own words.
I just think it's hilarious that people who plagiarize think, oh, if I change the words around, then it covers my ass. It's like, no, just because you have access to a thesaurus and you may have flipped around a few different words doesn't mean it's your own words. It's just like translating somebody else's word. That's essentially what
Plagiarizing copies more than just word for word copying. It's also the copying of ideas.
Yes, exactly. That's another thing I was also trying to get at. Like you're apparently, here's the thing. He played the games still, but the fact that you can't form how you feel about playing a game and have to take someone else's words because it's like, yeah, this guy sums up how I feel. No, don't do that. Sometimes when I reviewed, I would just like, I did look around, but it's mainly like structure, way to improve structure on how to write reviews in a general sense.
Yeah.
And that was something I tried to take into practice with the SNES Classic video, and more recently, and probably more into practice, Sea of Thieves. I'm just like, how do I want to structure this? Because I know how I feel about the game. I just need to figure out what are good ways to structure things that I can still make it seem like my own. But this guy just decides that he may as well just take from elsewhere because he can't do that part. He can't think on his own despite playing the games. And it was like the thing with Dead Cells, like even the IGN people like who fired him says like, by the way, he did play Dead Cells. We saw him play and he had glowing praise for it. But the fact that he still went and took someone else's words is baffling.
You think when they asked him right after he played it what he thought, he instinctively like pulled out his phone and loaded up?
Oh God, I don't even want to think that.
Sometimes when I work on my own reviews, I get concerned that I'm taking something without realizing it. I always check.
To be
things.
fair, I get where you're coming from, and to be honest, we've done that in terms of references and jokes mostly. But we make it obvious. We don't ever claim it as our own. It's like,
I know that sometimes I've unintentionally used like jokes or ideas or the way that that things were said from you guys, especially from you, Scott, because I've seen your reviews a lot of times, and I guess subconsciously gets in my head, but I'm not doing it intentionally.
I feel like I've done the same thing. Sorry, Zero, but I feel like I've done the same thing with Scott, actually. I just can't recall.
The other thing is a lot of the times, if I'm going to review a game, I don't watch other people's reviews or read other people's reviews of them.
That's what I was going to mention.
Exactly, because
I don't want my thoughts to be tainted by someone else's. Now, if there's a game that somebody reviewed like a long time ago, and I'm doing like a Zero's Maverick Hunting or something on it, I probably found out about the game because of them. So no matter what I do, my opinion is going to be sprinkled with what they showed. It's just a fact. Even if I completely disagree, it's still going to show through at some point. But the fact of the matter is that what this guy did is he's like, he was either under a time crunch or something, and he was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take this, change it around a bit, and make it my own. But the problem is he did it, like 15 times?
That's why I don't think it, like, in some cases, especially at IGN, even though they have, like, so many writers, they usually just, like, plop a game on you. It's like, all right, we need this done by, etc. So there is a time crunch, but with how many places, like, okay, he hasn't just didn't just write for IGN. He was elsewhere, I believe. I think one of them was Nintendo related. So in some cases, there may not have been a time crunch. He may have just been a lazy piece of shit. But, like, again, so many reviews and previews even that he plagiarized from, like, regardless of where he worked, is just unacceptable.
One other thing that I want to mention is that the fact that he got away with it for so long is ridiculous. And on top of that, apparently throughout this, there were other IGN writers who were found of doing the same thing. So it wasn't just him. Apparently there's a few people at IGN.
Actually, no, we're not going to say names either, because those could be other fuck this guy segments. But this is a new segment that should be recurring.
But it's just like it again. It gives you the perspective of just another reason why, like, the big time reviewers are hard to, like, it's hard to align with them when, you know, a lot of the times they can't give it, like, when, for example, a 7 is considered a bad score.
I hate that mentality.
Like, in
7, if you're swimming in 7, that's just good enough.
7 is 70%. 7.5 is 75%. That's still good. Like, you have to, like, the problem is like, it's not evenly scored a lot of the times.
I'll just
say, if a game has shit sound and shit music, that's 2 points off for me if it's out of 10. Just as an example. Not that I rate things out of 10, but, like, if I did, like, just if it had bad graphics, that would be 1 off. Like, and like a point off. And a game could be really good and be a 6 out of 10, but people don't see it that way. They're like, okay, if it has something below an 8, it's terrible. And that's why I'm like, this is just another reason why people shouldn't trust, you know, bigger name like review companies, because they don't do the work. Obviously, they don't do the work.
There's a reason I'm subbed to Best in the Biz, though.
Yeah.
And even then, they sometimes get shit for, like, 7s, and even they say it's like 7's still a good game. Like, even they said it.
So I'm just gonna throw out there, he did apology video is not the word for it, but it got taken down really fast.
Like, was that where he said to have the internet just like look for my other work and
Yes.
stuff. Oh yes, no wonder it got taken down because he realized people
Good
actually
job.
found this shit.
But the point I'm trying to get to is,
The reason he didn't do an apology is because he couldn't find another apology to steal from.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we've heard that joke around there. So yeah,
I mean, it's obviously this guy doesn't know how to write on his own. He has to take other people's work. So you think he's going to be able to come up with an apology?
in the video, he mentioned that he would go around and look at other people's reviews of games that he was covering, and that was standard practice. And dozens of IGN people stood up and said, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
So he tried to throw IGN under the bus? I mean, I don't like IGN, but
Well, neither
when you
do
lie
I, but
about
still.
anything, it's like you're still lying about something.
I want to go back to something you said earlier, Unreal, about you learned to do this in school. It wasn't emphasized as much for me in high school as it was in college.
Yes.
Because before every class, they would give you like an itinerary of what to expect from the class and what the rules were. And there was always a section they went over that was discussing plagiarism and the punishments for plagiarism. I went to a couple different universities. It was handled a couple different ways. Like, one had a 3-strike rule where if you got the first strike, failed the assignment. Second strike, failed the entire course. Third strike, expelled from university. And the other one I went to was more strict, which said, if we think it's severe enough on the first offense, you're out of here. But a lot of people who get into this form of writing don't necessarily go to higher education. So I don't know how many actually get it pounded into their skull. Yo, don't copy this shit.
I mean, don't copy that floppy is a thing.
But people would download a car if they could.
They would totally download a car.
Well, maybe 3D print it, which is the closest thing. Well, I don't know. But yeah, college is the number one thing that you did bring up for that. And it's been a while, but like I feel like they did mention it in school and stuff. But I agree with you, and it definitely was a thing. College, they made damn well sure that you know this. I sort of remember a lot of the courses where you did have to write, they would always have a section on plagiarism. And it's like if there was a section which was like, okay, you have to cite, if you have to cite your work, this is how you do it, and pretty much abided by that.
The moral of the story is if you think you're copying something, take a second, look at it, and if it is copying, just stop doing it. Just write it a different way.
Yeah, you have to be able to take that step back.
Yeah, it's just like usually people who are plagiarizing have like come to terms with the fact that, yep, I'm stealing this. The fact that people think they can still get away with it these days is the part that means it's never going to go away.
Do we want to get on some lighter news for a little bit?
Well, in closing, fuck that guy.
Well, yes, obviously, but let's go to some lighter news. Because I know that this is going to make at least one of you happy. It has to do with a little group called THQ Nordic.
Oh, yeah. Can we phone Blondie? Can we phone a friend?
It says he's busy right now, so we'll get him in on this later. But they picked up the rights to the Time Splitters franchise.
Damn fucking straight they did.
Yeah, I heard about that.
No, I don't know if you have the follow-up news on this.
Well, that's not the only thing they acquired. They also got the rights to Second Sight.
Yes, that's also part of it. But there's some follow-up news with the acquisition. It was talking with I don't remember the dev's first name, but you should know the last name as Doak or Doak. How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Doak.
Okay, yeah, you know in GoldenEye, like Dr. Doak, right? That's pretty much him. He's talking about expectations and stuff. So he's kind of worried about Time Splitters. Because it's like if there was a new Time Splitters thing, there'd be expectation, and he's just kind of like not having it, which is weird. It's like, which I don't understand. It's like people clearly want Time Splitters, but he's going the pessimistic route where it's like, well, if we do the new game, there's going to be expectation. We don't live up to it, then we didn't do a good job. Where he's more confident in a new Second Sight because that's more cult and wasn't really received well. Well, it received averagely, but it didn't sell super well, say compared to Time Splitters. So, like, his words make me wonder. Like, yeah, they have the license now, which was it originally just under Crytek, the license?
Not sure.
I believe it was, and they were not doing anything with it.
I'm so fucking tired of devs being like, well, there's too high expectations, so we can't do it. Like, first off...
Well, he didn't say can't. He's just like, there's a risk there.
Like,
I mean...
Okay. People, like, a lot of times, people are worried that, a bad game will ruin a franchise, and it's just like, that doesn't happen anymore. There's, like, almost no criteria for a game to stay dead. Like, look at the Crash and Spyro remakes. Like, yeah, those games had a slew of bad sequels, yet they remade them. And, like, there's other games that haven't had sequels in years, like fucking Killer Instinct, and they still made a new game out of it. I think this whole, like, thing about, like, it's been so long, so no matter what we make, it's going to be bad. People are still going to fucking play it, so why not just put the time and effort in? Because people won't buy it based on the name. I know that's not a good way to make a game, but at the same time, it's like there's nothing can be made so bad that it will never come back. Because if you're worried about making a new Time Splitters game, and it sells, say it does terribly, in 10 more fucking years are gonna make another one.
Now here's the weird thing. I believe Dambuster made Blondie's favorite game of all time. Dambuster Studios or something made Blondie's favorite game of all time, Homefront: The Revolution. Which makes me wonder. It's like that. Like, I didn't know that Dambuster was Free Radical, and they made that. But I guess they couldn't really do anything with Time Splitters because it was still under Crytek, and there was some legal issues and shit. And Crytek didn't want to do anything with it. So now that THQ Nordic has it, something might come out of it. Like, new game, don't know quite yet because of Dok's words or something. But apparently there's still supposed to be news about Time Splitters coming up. Either it could be tied to that fan project Rewind, which no idea what's going on with it now. The last Facebook post they mentioned on it was like, yeah, we know about the acquisition, we're gonna update you later about it. So either A, that could get canceled, or B, moved on. But the other thing is the announcement could be, hey, here's that Time Splitters HD collection. It's very possible, but we won't know until they actually tell us. So,
yeah.
Like, I think it's good that they got away from Crytek because they weren't doing shit. Mm-hmm. But the fact that the word Time Splitters came up and say acquired by THQ Nordic, who's actually putting projects out, like, Darksiders 3, for one, that could mean something. But right now, we're just going to have to wait.
It's funny you mentioned GoldenEye near the beginning of the discussion, because there was an interview recently with a couple of former Rare developers, and both of them agreed, yes, it is considered cheating to play as Oddjob.
Oh yeah, I saw, like, I don't know if it was an article name or a YouTube video, but it said that, and I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know.
It's official.
Did they explain, or did they just have their own take on it? I'm actually curious. Did they actually think that, like, okay, yeah, because he's like way shorter and he has like an insta-kill weapon, yeah.
Well, it's that he's so short that if you're just carrying around the gun and aiming by default, all your bullets go right over his head. Whereas with everybody else, it would at least like hit in the torso.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or if your jaws, it hits somewhere around the waist region.
Man, I haven't played GoldenEye.
Isn't his balls made of metal? I don't remember.
I think legitimately the last time I played GoldenEye was probably in the 90s. I haven't really played it since.
I'm going to wrap up gaming news with a tremendous accident involving Valve. Basically, we know now that they're working on a broadcasting platform called Steam.tv. But we weren't supposed to know about that, because what was supposed to be a behind closed doors test run of the platform was broadcast publicly on their website.
Oh god. Whoops.
Oops.
Wow. They can't even get that right. Wait, can't you already stream through Steam?
No, I think it's more like trying to compete with Twitch.
Oh.
Yeah, this
Type of
is
deal.
basically supposed to be a competitor with things like Twitch streaming, YouTube streaming.
I don't know how it's going to compete. They can't do console games.
Think about how many games are released on PC that don't necessarily make the jump to console.
I guess, but that's one platform.
I mean, yes, but it is a platform with a shit ton of games. So it's going to attract some kind of audience regardless. I mean, I don't expect it to catch on very quickly unless they start doing things like Dota 2 tournament streaming through it or whatever.
If they can make it so that you don't need an additional program and that it works really, 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 really efficiently through the Steam program, then I could see it being good.
Yeah, the problem is, even though it was broadcast publicly, not a lot of people got screenshots or video footage of it, so there's not a whole lot to go on for it just yet, just that it exists.
We'll have to wait and see.
Twitch is a powerhouse. I mean, is Ustream still around? Do people still use that? Because I know that's like something you could stream to through
I
PS4. I mean, YouTube's the other competitor, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube's starting to become a bigger.
And with Xbox, Mixer
Mhm.
is trying. Keyword.
Technically it's still around, but it's IBM Cloud Video.
What? I don't understand. I'm sorry.
As of April 1st, 2017, Ustream's transition to become part of IBM is complete.
Oh, okay.
It is now one of the pillars of the then newly created IBM Cloud Video Business Unit.
I'm going to say that nobody uses this thing.
Well, again, we're not sure. Like, who knows? It'll probably like.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about IBM Cloud Video.
Oh well.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. But quick thing with the Steam one, it ain't no IBM Cloud Video, but but we'll see how it goes. It'll probably be like super easy, maybe for PC games. I mean, I don't know how this is actually gonna work. But keep in mind, Twitch used to be Justin.tv, and then eventually kind of migrated. Then it became two separate things, and then Justin became Twitch as well. Because I'm pretty sure Justin.tv was for Canada at the time when there was like two separate entities, and then they just kind of merged. Yeah. So that platform's technically been around for a while, and it's one of the biggest platforms now for just like watching stuff, like just watching other people play games, and especially since they've eventually started adding other stuff like, you know, Twitch Creative, which had that Bob Ross marathon, and other times where it's like, no, you could just watch some TV show marathons here. Like there was a fucking whole Power Ranger marathon or MXC. So like, yeah, it's huge. I don't know.
Working on a Pokemon marathon now too.
Oh god, now? All right. I will say though, Power Rangers marathon was one of the funniest things I watched with Twitch chat. Like, never forget. I couldn't watch all of it, obviously, but when I did pop in, memorable. One of the best. And of course, Bob Ross was the legendary one. Because, like, anytime there was a mistake, chat goes nuts, and then Bob Ross fixes it, and everyone just says saved in chat, and it just breaks your computer. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know about Steam. Like, this could go very bad. Because, like, what, Valve recently wanted to start making games again? I mean, it's hard to say what the fuck Valve wants to do just in general. It doesn't seem like outside of their platform, doesn't seem like they're consistent. Like, we're never getting Half-Life 3.
Hold on. Valve makes games?
Yeah, that card game for Dota that people clearly wanted.
Even on their platform, they don't really know what they're doing right now.
Yeah, like where they no longer, where they also no longer moderate like content and stuff, I believe. So
didn't they just do like a whole thing where they wiped out a bunch of stuff that apparently had quote unquote sexual content in it?
And then they went back on it and said we're not gonna moderate shit anymore or something like that.
And now there's a content freeze on certain visual novels.
Yeah.
Because people want the fucking nude patch because they can't,
Well, let me put it this way. In a game like Nekopara, where it just goes to them fucking, and there's no fucking scene, it's kind of jarring.
Just visualize it. Just imagine.
Just
Imagine stupid cats fucking.
Just plug the Game Shark into your USB.
Do what I did as a kid and accidentally break the Buck Bumble cartridge in the Game Shark.
Oh.
That's a whole story that I can mention. I'm going to save it. Because it's not a long story, but yeah. That's something I remember happening with Buck Bumble. Made me weary of Game Sharks for the rest of my life. Just don't knock into that shit if it's in.
So we started with fuck this guy, and I'm going to end it with a potential fuck these guys.
Oh, I thought with Nekopara it would have been just like fuck these girls.
Fuck these cats.
It could have been a bad segue, but what do we got?
Daybreak Games.
I don't know what this is, but continue.
Is this H1Z1 related?
This is H1Z1, although it's called Just Survive now.
When did that happen?
I'm not sure because I don't follow the game, but that game's servers are getting shut down in October.
Did they explain why?
Well, here's what they said. Unfortunately, we are no longer in a position to fulfill its greatness, and the current population of the game makes it untenable to maintain.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So in other words, people stopped playing it, and they couldn't make the game good enough for people to keep playing it.
I don't even think the game was good to begin with. I mean, is that true?
Well, it was good enough for people to play it at the time.
I don't remember
because
any
there was
talking about
nothing
this game.
else.
Within, unless it, like the last time I heard somebody talk about this game was like 2013, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly when this was popular.
I mostly just mention this because I have an ongoing grudge with them over how they're handling EverQuest. But to end gaming news on a positive note, Windjammers 2 coming to PC and Nintendo Switch.
Wait, what?
No, that's real. I remember looking on Twitter one day and being like, why? What? Why now? What?
So this was during a Nindies presentation that happened recently, but they announced original Windjammers going to Switch October 23rd, and Windjammers 2
Wait, there
going
was
to
another
PC and
Nindies
Switch in 2019.
Thing?
I think they did it during Gamescom or something.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Which reminds me, I need to play my PS4 copy a little bit more than I have.
I just still don't like... Okay, when was that game first released? I'm not talking the re-release.
Like when it first hit arcades?
Yes.
I think the early 90s.
How many decades until a sequel? Fucking hell. It's just like, well, what can you... The other question is, like, obviously there wasn't gameplay in the trailer. What can you do in a Windjammer sequel?
You can add another dimension.
Oh, you think it's going to be 3D Windjammers?
No, I think it's going to be 5D Windjammers.
You're crazy. You got to wait like 3 extra decades for that.
Well, let's see. They'd have to add HD Rumble, and they'd have to add...
Well, PC version
television?
won't have that, so...
You gotta add VR support.
I feel like there technically would be a VR Windjammers already. I'm pretty sure it's doable or has been done, but not great.
I'm gonna search for that. Okay, never mind. That just pulled up the VR51 Windjammers Jet. So I guess that's not a thing yet, at least not officially. But that will bring gaming news to a close, which will bring us to... Now Playing. So, what have you guys been playing recently? Zero?
I'm going to try not to talk about things that I'm doing videos for. So, the 2 games I'm going to talk about today are Azure Striker Gunvolt's starter pack, which is kind of cheating because it's 2 games, but I've only been playing the first game. Technically, I've had this game for a while on PC, but I haven't really been playing it. But when I went to go visit my friend Billy, we went to this game store called Retro Game Bros, which was awesome. They had a lot of cool stuff, and they had a physical copy of the starter pack, which comes with the first 2 games in the series. For anybody who doesn't know what Azure Striker Gunvolt is, it's basically the same team that made the Mega Man Zero games, from Inti Crates. It's basically reimagining of Mega Man Zero. It's a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun with the game. It's got interesting mechanics with the whole lightning and thunder charging stuff. My only gripe is the levels feel like they're too long, and there's some sections that aren't very, how should I put this, super obvious what you need to do. So a lot of the times I found myself getting stuck. I haven't had to look anything up, but it would take me like 2 or 3 times to pass a certain part. I'd be like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. But otherwise, it's a really fun game, and I've really been enjoying it. And yeah, so I've been playing through that. I also recently got Plague Road for Switch, and I actually got this game for free because I used Nintendo, what's it called, My Nintendo coins from buying other games, and it was on sale for like something like $1.39 or something like that. So I used 139 coins to get it for free. Plague Road's one of those games I've wanted to play for a while. It's like a tactical RPG / roguelike, and I'm enjoying it, but it also is very slow progression. I've been playing it on and off, and that's just the only thing this is something that bothers me about a lot of roguelikes, is the progression is very, very slow. So that's the only downside I see to it. Like, it just takes forever to get anywhere. I finally got into the first area, but it took like a couple of days for me to do that. But either way, they're both great games. I'm having fun with them. I'm really enjoying a lot more games now that I have a Switch, because I just got this thing, like, I've only had it for like a month and a half, and I've been playing it a lot in portable mode, not so much in like console mode. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the Switch, and most of the games that I'm looking forward to are coming out on Switch, so I'm probably gonna get the Switch versions of those too. So that's it for me.
Okay, well, I might as well go next. And you're not going to believe this, but I actually have a game to talk about for a little bit.
Ooh.
Because just on a whim, when I was in a game store recently, pre-ordering Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I thought, yeah, I'll get this. It looks kind of lonely on the shelf. So I played Populous. Specifically the SNES version. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is basically the game that launched Peter Molyneux into the mainstream as far as making games. And I didn't realize until I looked back just how many games I played that he was involved with. Like, I've played this, Theme Park he was involved in, Magic Carpet, Dungeon Keeper, the movies. Never really played the Fable games, so I can't count those. Anyway, I was a little wary of this because the version of Populous that was on the SNES, it's basically a slightly modified port of the version that was released on PC in 1989. So there are varying levels of jank, and it definitely looks like a PC game from 1989, but it actually still plays pretty well, although you pretty much need a guide, because this was from the time of video games where they just assumed you would have the instruction booklet with you. So even with the tutorial in the game, you really need to look up what all the different buttons and everything do, because a lot of the icons that are used for determining what you do in the game aren't very clear at a glance. Basically, the idea is you play as the good god, and there's this map of land, and you have your settlements on one side, and on the other side is an evil god who's developing his own settlements. Your job is to get your settlement to grow and overthrow the other settlement. And you do this by helping them cultivate land. When you start off, one of the only things you can do is like raise land and lower land, and that helps like your settlers build new buildings and gather crops and shit like that. But the thing is, the more these settlers expand and the greater a number they grow, the more your mana gauge goes up. And when that goes up, you can start inflicting natural disasters on various parts of the land. You can cause earthquakes, you can cause floods, at some point you can just trigger Armageddon. But yeah, the idea is on every map to overthrow the evil god's settlements. And you do this for hundreds of levels. Needless to say, I have not gotten that far. I will say, I don't think it adapts particularly well to the SNES controller, because you've got these things where all the face buttons have one thing that they do. Then you gotta like hold L or hold R, and they do all these other things. It takes a long time to get used to just using an SNES controller to play this game. But I'm still having fun with it. I think like the core gameplay of it at least still holds up, even if most of the rest of it doesn't. Haven't played any of the Populous sequels though, though I don't know how easy some of them are to find. Maybe down the line. But that should be it for me, so Unreal, what you got?
Kind of picking through games that I've finished. There was actually one game I did finish that I didn't get to talk about yet. It might be brief because in a general sense there isn't a lot to talk about it with, but I finally got to play Elite Beat Agents. I've been looking for this game for so long. I have one sort of weird negative with Elite Beat Agents. Well, technically two. One of it is that you can't delete save data. So whoever owned the game last, their stuff was on it, but they never beat the game anyways. They got close to the end of the game, but maybe at the time they just couldn't do it. That's unfortunate. I wanted to start fresh, but I can't. But even then, I just kind of played my way through normally, and basically all my scores eventually overwrote, so it's like now it's pretty much my copy. And the other second negative I have with the game is that it kind of like hopes for a sequel, and we never got one. That's a weird negative because this game's so good. Like, I'm glad I finally got the chance to play it. It's a rhythm game. Basically, if anyone's familiar with Oendon or Osu, it's basically the American version of that, where you have to tap to the rhythm of the music, and there's like certain icons on screen. Another example where this happens is Cory in the House on DS, but that's a bad example.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to mention like some of the Project Diva games.
No, this is kind of different actually, where like those games use buttons. This is all touchscreen. You use no buttons in this game at all.
It's the same principle though.
Yeah, but what this game does is it like with each icon that shows up, it has a number order, so you know which one to hit in what order. So like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I've played this before, so.
Yes, so basically, because it's a rhythm game, you do it in time with the music. Depending on difficulty, it usually tries to like match it up with sometimes either the lyrics, which is most of the time, or sometimes the beat of the music. And it depends on the song. Sometimes they'll do both, and that can be a little tricky, but oh man, the game itself is so charming in its presentation. Like, it's a funny game. Like, it's so silly and over the top. It's so hard to just not smile while playing, except for one part where you may actually cry. I did. I'll just say that right now. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it comes kind of late. Also, the game is, well, so far only played on the easiest difficulty. I was planning on moving up. It has a general nice difficulty curve, although later on it gets a lot more tough, even on easy. So you gotta be ready. In general, I think the track list is decent. Since this is like an Americanized Oendon, it doesn't have J-pop, obviously. So at the time, they just had a bunch of covers of music or certain songs, like they have September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, which already adds 10 points to the fucking review scale. Don't at me. In fact, my first exposure with that game, by the way, was playing that song at a demo kiosk in Walmart. That was my first ever time playing Elite Beat Agents when I was younger. And I never forgot. I kind of wish I had the game sooner. But, you know, there's some songs on here like I obviously don't care for, but in general, I'm like, no, I like this. Some of the covers aren't good, but some are surprisingly good.
I was kind of surprised how much I ended up liking the Jumping Jack Flash cover.
Oh, yeah. That covers... I swear to God, I didn't know who that song was from. By the way, it's Rolling Stones. But at the time, because of the cover, I almost thought it could have been something Chris Cornell because of the cover guy sounding almost like he was trying to be Chris Cornell. And I'm like, no, this cannot be Soundgarden or fucking... I don't know. And it's like, Rolling Stones. Okay. He tried to do Mick Jagger, but didn't do great. Also, that song is hard. Even on easy.
Ooh, yeah.
That was the only song I failed at, and then I beat it the second time. And that was on, like, easy again. I do want to do the other difficulties. I'm in no rush. And the thing is, I only unlocked one of the 3 bonus songs so far. The one being, Believe by Cher. But yeah, also, I know I'm going on a tangent, but the September cover is pretty good. So now it's 20 points. Oh yeah, well, you also have to deal with the DS audio quality. Oh god.
I think I know what music's ending the podcast now.
Well, also, I should mention, there was a cover of Canned Heat, which is also really good, by the way. It's a way shorter version because they try to condense all these songs into like 3 minutes. Or in the case of Waggy Doggy Man, they extended it to 3 minutes. It's like shorter than that. But I would like to unlock the other bonus songs, but that requires like a lot of play time because you have to keep getting points to rank up, and then you get the eventual rank where you get the extra songs. The other 2 songs is ABC by Jackson 5 and Survivor by Beyonce, I believe. So I'm not there yet. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it soon, but man, fun game. Shame it never got a sequel because it's so nice. If you've never played it, I encourage it, but only if rhythm games are your thing. Because I'd say if you're new to rhythm games, call me crazy, this may not be a great starting point. Because there could be a point where the difficulty gets nuts, even on easy, and you may not be able to keep up. But if you're into rhythm games, highly recommended. Absolutely highly recommended.
Also, Survivors by Destiny's Child, not Beyonce.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just didn't know if it was Beyonce or Destiny's Child.
It's pretty hard to tell sometimes.
It is hard to tell because, well, obviously she was a part of Destiny's Child. Anyways, game's great. I'm glad I found it for $5. I mean, again, I never saw it at cons, and if I did, it would sometimes maybe be 20. And I'm being Shady J here. I would have been like, nah, it's too much. But
I'll give you $1.
Shut up, you. That's gonna be me at Retro World. I got one more game to talk about. This one's more or less been taking my time up again in the past month, and I hate to admit it. It's also kind of the reason why I've kind of been not streaming more DMC3. I've kind of gotten lost back into Destiny 2. Now I've got some things to say because they had a whole event pretty much kind of celebrating the end of what they would consider year 1 of Destiny 2. They kind of separated by year 1. And look who's here to delete Destiny 2 with CanadianJutsu, everyone.
Hello.
You came in at the right time.
I did. All right. Well, I apologize. I got called into work. My bad. And I forgot.
Don't worry about it.
You forgot your phone? Oh, okay. For a second, I was getting like concerned. I'm like, is he okay? I called him like 3 times.
You weren't called into work for plagiarism, were you?
No, I was not.
And you're in the clear. Welcome to the podcast late. This is not the first time this has happened, by the way. There have been times where we've been ambushed mid-podcast by a guest that's late, so...
Oh, well, like I said, I am sorry. I don't know how long you guys have been going for.
We just got to recently played. Kevin was just talking about the second game.
So, to make you feel better, I just have my second game to go through, and we can go straight to you.
Oh, shit.
So anyways, I was talking about Destiny 2, and how it's been pretty much stealing my life for the past month. They usually separate stuff via, like, year, so, like, this is getting near the end of what year 1 would be, for example. The whole month event, pretty much just, like, having you do all the stuff to help get get some new armor that will be high enough light level in preparation for the new content that's dropping very soon. I'd say about a week or 2.
That's Forsaken, right?
That is Forsaken.
Yeah.
I could drop a Dream Theater reference, but I'm the only one that would understand it.
Well, didn't they kill Nathan Fillion? I think that was the big thing, right?
Yes.
Well, that's what the promotion looks like.
Yeah, the whole idea is that Cade 6 got killed off. I don't want to talk about Forsaken because that could be for another time. I'm just talking about Destiny 2 and its prior DLCs, because the only reason I got back in, aside from like just playing it again just for the hell of it, the expansion pass DLC ended up being on sale for PlayStation, and I just said fine. I just said okay, I'm saving money, because I didn't pay full price for Destiny 2 either. Like, I got it close to launch, but I was able to get a discount, and then I got a discount in DLC. Oh boy, that DLC is a ride, because we've got both Curse of Osiris and Warmind. I had not played those DLCs when they came out, so I was really late to them. Kind of recap, Curse of Osiris, very quickly, is not good. A lot of the stuff they tried to introduce there primarily sucked, and in terms of story, they took one of the coolest characters and did like next to nothing with them. It's just like a really bad story DLC, but they also had a bunch of other stuff added on that really wasn't great. Of course, this has all been changed since these DLCs originally dropped, so my experience with them was different, but I could see the stuff that was not good in there and still going for it.
Well, that was the quote, I'm gonna say quote unquote expansion that was really just sort of like a month or 2 after the initial launch of Destiny 2 came out, right? Like it wasn't very long after, so it really felt like, from what I heard, because I was still playing Destiny 2 around that time.
I didn't even know you were playing, period.
Yeah, I played Destiny 2 at launch because a good buddy of mine, Haruso, donated like a code for me to actually play it with him. So we played the first like month or so on and off of that, and then the DLC came out, and / the paywall stuff started happening at that time, when they were in just sort of a PR nightmare, and I just stopped playing. I was on PC, I wasn't on PS4 or anything like that.
And that's a shame too, because full disclosure, even though I haven't played it, I've heard that the PC port is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so shocking to me, because in a sea of not good PC ports, Destiny 2 has a really good one. Like,
yeah,
I
have a beast of a machine.
And even then, like, I heard it was like pretty good to like run on anything. Like, you're able to get like better frame rates, obviously, because you're on the beast mode. But like,
well, that's the thing, is like I had no slowdown, lots of particle. I had everything on the highest settings, and I never had it chug. And the servers were incredibly good, especially for like a launch of like a big franchise. Destiny is big when it comes to Bungie, right? So
yes, and also like the quick other thing is that the PC version was not day and date with the console. It came later, which again could have drawn concern, but it still ended up being a solid port. The thing is, like, you did say you were around with the DLC, and I wasn't. I stopped playing before Curse dropped, because my buddies kind of stopped. And then, like, with Destiny 1, that sort of happened, and I just kept playing through that. Whereas the other time, it's like, I'm not spending the money, which is another big thing, and I didn't spend the money until, months ago. And yeah, Curse is rough. I did actually recently finish the raid lair Curse of Osiris came with. It's really short. Even though it's really short, it is kind of enjoyable. I mean, because of my current light level and all that stuff, and learning the mechanics, still kind of fun and easy. But again, once you go in with like all this good equipment and you know what to do, raids kind of become that. And the raid lairs were always meant to be shorter, but still have raid mechanics type of deal. And with Warmind, another deal where it's like you have this cool, it's a character, but it's not a person. Rasputin is this like giant Warmind like AI machine, and he was a thing in Destiny 1. To briefly recap, and again, it's almost like he was poorly utilized here. It's just like anything with the story content was so poorly done, which is amazing because like Destiny 1 had fucking nothing, and then they tried to like sort of add more in, and then Destiny 2 started with a plot, and then it's like you get plots here, but these plots are bad. So yeah, I have not done the Warmind raid lair yet. I know it's harder than the first raid lairs because of course it's all the different mechanics, and I want to try and run it, so I can't say anything about it, but I hear people do like that one. Now there's one activity Warmind brings called Escalation Protocol. What it is, it's like this public event thing where like a bunch of people could come in and help. I like the idea, but it fucking sucks because it's supposed to be an end game activity where your light level is supposed to be like around 380, which is pretty much what the max was for that DLC. And then you have people like around 350 that die in like 2 hits during it and always try to activate it. And getting a group together to do this fucking sucks. Because it's a public event and randoms can just come in, people can't load into the area that you want. So if you're LFG and you have to like do all this complicated shit and it fucking blows just to grind it. It's just kind of frustrating. Warmind is better than Curse, but yeah, this expansion pass stuff wasn't overall great. But outside of that, the game has been getting quality of life updates outside of the DLC, changing stuff up. Also, eventually leading to Forsaken, which has even bigger changes. In fact, the weapon system change is happening in a couple of days prior to Forsaken, so it's happening regardless if you own the DLC or not. And it's just like, I forgot in general how good the game felt to play. I always thought that was one of Destiny's strengths, that it's like, it's fun to play. But of course there's a cutoff where it's like, well, now you're entering grinding mode and you just kind of get in that mood. But there was something to work towards for this past month, and that's why my month has been devoted to it, and I am enjoying myself again. I am very cautious on Forsaken. I may buy it. It probably will. It might turn from a maybe to a will buy, but I'm gonna do it so last minute because I don't know. I don't mind Destiny 2 pulling me back in again because like I had fun. I just wanted reasons to keep having fun, and it's slowly coming back. That was long-winded. CJ, give me your video games.
Hold on, I actually have a bit of news for you, Unreal. I got a text from my brother who's currently at a Toto concert. And
Excuse me?
He said they're playing Trollolo for a sound check.
Why is this related to me? Also, why?
Because you were the one who brought the rains down to Africa.
I don't remember doing CBS Bangers audio checks. Come on. What do you think I am?
Well, I know who you weren't. You weren't CJ.
But I have come for the final bit of this podcast. Playing video games is what we are discussing, and ones that I am playing. I've been playing Final Fantasy IX again, because I gotta play that every couple of years. Just it's like my favorite Final Fantasy ever. That's just sort of an off-stream thing when I'm just not wanting to socially interact with people. And obviously, I'm continuing to play Final Fantasy XIV. The Rathalos event came out, which I made a video about for the RCG thing. So anybody that's listening to the podcast that hasn't watched some of the other stuff on the YouTube channel, you should totally do that. But that's actually pretty much it, other than like the staples that we always play, like Monster Hunter here and there. Getting ready, obviously, for Generations.
We'll just
Ultimate.
warn you right now, next podcast, it's going to turn into a Monster Hunter podcast, most likely, for now playing. Just a quick heads up.
Yeah. There is one other thing that I was playing. Actually, after Zero's stream on Thursday, I've been playing Overwatch again. So there's that.
There's that.
I was gonna say, do you want to play more of that after the podcast? Because
I was about to say, I was like, I've been kind of itching to play more Overwatch, but
yeah, you guys are having the Overwatch itch while I've had the Destiny itch. It's kind of been like that. You just kind of dip in and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Every time I think I'm done with Final Fantasy 14, like I'm like, all right, I've done everything. There's nothing I can do. Better just wait for a patch. They're just like, oh yes, but there's this other content that we're releasing. That was the Monster Hunter event, and 4.4 of the Stormblood content is coming out most likely the second week of September. So probably by the next time that I'm on the podcast proper, I'll have been playing that, and I can tell you guys all about the new raid tier that hopefully isn't a fight against Sephiroth, because it seems like they're gearing towards doing that. And I'm not too keen on it. I mean, fighting Kefka and the Phantom Train were one thing, but I don't know. I don't want the final raid tier of this expansion cycle to be Sephiroth. I just don't think he'd make a really good raid fight. But hell, I didn't think Kefka would. But he turned out to be really, really, really hard fight. Hell, even the Rathalos extreme fight is awfully hard, which I'm glad for, because the game needs content like that. It needs a tougher, more direct type of thing. But other than that, there was another game that I'm playing. Crap. I've been playing Graveyard Keeper, which is like a Stardew Valley-esque type Harvest Moon type thing where you take care of a graveyard, but also pretty much run a church. And you gotta autopsy bodies and do all types of things. It's fitting into my job right now, which is kind of weird. Maybe that's why I'm like half enjoying it more than I should be, maybe. But yeah, no, it's actually a really good indie title. I think it's a little too expensive now that, because I purchased it and everything like that. I think it's a little too expensive for what it offers right out the gate. But definitely, if you see it like 15 to 50% off, definitely pick it up if you like RuneScape, Rune Factory and Stardew Valley and stuff like that. That's all I can think of that's like big and apparent. But we're gonna go play some Overwatch.
Podcast ain't over.
Podcast ain't over yet, though.
Oh, no, you ain't. We're gonna do viewer questions. Actually, no, we don't have any.
Oh, I was about to say, what do you got for me today,
fucking
Coach?
overhyping that for nothing.
I feel like this segment should be retired.
Yeah, all right. How
many weeks have we not had
one? I got a viewer question because I viewed the last podcast.
Okay, fine. I guess we'll allow it.
Okay, fine.
But why though? Question mark. I want to hear your
elaborate.
Answers.
Can you elaborate?
No, but why though? Question mark. That's the question.
The sky.
Stop, elaborate, and listen.
It's a vague question, but you have to answer it because it's a viewer requested question.
In the context of last podcast, I guess, because we're competing with hunter-based podcasts. But in that case, why are you guys here? You're the hunter-based podcast. You're competing with us at this rate, but you're also part of us, so you're competing with yourselves. Why though?
Low key, it's the reason why I wasn't here. Because oh no, we don't want competition.
No, we can't. No, but that means
there's too much zero.
That means it'd be 2v1.
What competition? What competition? You guys always beat us with a punch and stuff, so it doesn't matter.
How? Well,
You guys get the topics.
It's just because of our recording schedule.
Well, what's your next topic? Because I'm pretty sure we're not discussing that.
Our next topic is game emulation and preservation. Which, if you want to ask us a question, we put out a call for questions. Just use hashtag.
Wait a minute, we did talk about Paradise
that's
before you did.
That's referring to people that they actually ask us questions on the RCG podcast first. So,
You know, now I have a question for you guys. Are you going to pay us for the ad space we just gave you on this podcast?
No.
well, we've mentioned RCG in our podcast before, so it's all.
It's already been
So
paid.
it
In fact,
cancels
you guys
out.
probably owe us some.
No, it cancels out. We end up paying each other, but it just meets midway. And no
It's
one
like
gets
when
paid.
you land on your own space in Monopoly and you give yourself money in your other hand. You're like, "Yep, I paid myself."
I made this. I made this.
I made this. Yeah. See how everybody dodged my question.
I already answered your question.
We did
But
explain
why, though?
why.
Uh,
We did explain why.
Wait. Okay. Let me say it again. My answer is, why is the sky? That's right. I answered
Sky
the question with
is-
another question.
That's the thing. The sky is a trick of the light and the atmosphere.
And
but why
also
is it?
SPD Blue.
Yeah, specifically SPD.
Portugal. And with that being said, if you want to ask us a question for the River City Gamers podcast to be answered in this segment, you can ask us in the YouTube comments. You can ask us on the site upload. You can ask us on facebook.com/RiverCityGamers for this posting. Or you can ask us on...
Shout Engine.
and we will answer the question from there. But now, guys, what's new? CJ?
Like I said, in my earlier of what I've been playing is I uploaded a video to the RCG YouTube account about my adventures on day one of the Rathalos event being released in Final Fantasy XIV, because I'm pretty much the only person in the RCG right now that I can think of that actually plays 14 actively. Not saying that there are as many people that have delved in. Second of all, I am currently finishing up editing on another RCG plays of us playing Dead by Daylight, because it was free this month for PlayStation Plus owners. And that's actually taking a lot more editing time because I got both Zero and Blondie's footage, and I'm doing some chase cams and some funny little extras in that.
Are you
Just
doing
to-
pictures in picture?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, cool. I can't wait to see that.
It's gonna be it's I think it looks like I did the first one of Blondie chasing Oni, and it looks really good where not Oni, it was chasing me because I don't have Oni's footage. Yeah, it looks really, really funny because
Wait, you didn't get Oni's footage?
realize that when I sneak away from him and he misses me, it's because of quick camera movements. And if you're not paying attention, you don't even see me disappear. It's really neat. But other than that, I actually got an update on the commission that I ordered for my review series. That's really good news. I'm fourth in line, so probably in the next week I'll probably get at least a rough sketch done. So I'll be able to say, yeah, this is how I want it. And then I pay her, and then she finishes it up within the week.
I
So
thought
that's-
you released your new review last month, at the end of last month, whether you had it or not.
See, I did do that, but then I started doing the Rathalos event stuff instead. So I
Oh,
just
right.
I just worked on that video instead. And then I've been keeping myself busy with the Dead by Daylight stuff. And I have 2 scripts written now since then. So I actually have a plethora of stuff that I'm ready and set to go with. And I kind of like that because now I'm able to not take my time, but know that I'm not scrounging around to make content. I just have to put one foot forward and actually do it. The only other thing that I do want to stick out for anybody that may listen to the podcast and know of my abridging content, I'm going to be creating a video for that channel. But in the deadest of night, while I'm trying to sleep, my phone blared in a very ceremonious fashion, and I got 2 copyright strikes on my abridging channel out of the blue. So
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, let's be honest, it's been up for 8 years, but I have been very inactive on it. So maybe because I've been more active on it lately, it's recognizing me and stuff like that. And like the YouTube bot remembers the name CanadianJutsu again.
Oh no.
So that channel, I may lose it by the time this podcast goes up. So we shall see.
Yeah.
As much as I want to keep it, just because of how ancient of a relic is, I'm very apprehensive. I don't feel like I'm going to be really mad if it goes down, just because it's semi-dead anyway.
Yeah.
And if I want to continue with my reviews, I kind of don't want them to be plagued by copyright strikes from old abridged episodes and everything like that.
What I was going to say is, if you go to make a new channel, you should make 2 separate ones. One's that you can put your abridged stuff on, and one that you can put your reviews and stuff on.
Yeah. What I was thinking is my Let's Play channel, the one that I have already established a little bit, that one I was going to put the reviews on and then put my abridging on a separate thing. So Let's Plays look at, top 10s or
just
whatever.
Your gaming channel, I guess.
Yeah, just a gaming channel at this point, because I'm not actively Let's Playing like I used to. So I think that's what that channel should be for. And then, that's just sort of a little FYI for anybody that may be listening to RCG podcast that is also a fan of my abridged work. That channel may disappear in the very near future, whether I delete it or it just gets deleted.
I have already subscribed to YouTube user CanadianJutsu.
Gonna run out of
I
words
have to go
here.
through the whole alphabet, man. If I could put CanadianJutsu squared, I would, but I can't. It doesn't let me.
You should make the new channel CanadianJutsu's 10th anniversary or something. Like his 20th channel.
There is a channel out there called We Love CanadianJutsu. I don't know who made that one. It's out there somewhere. Maybe I can get my hands on that. But anyway, that's enough. That's enough of that. On to the next man.
Unreal.
We need to work.
Yeah, get the fucking video done.
The other thing I need to do is get Anime North video done. But SCR was kind enough to send me something that would actually probably enhance the video, so that's nice. I'm not gonna say what. Outside of the video me and SCR have to still do together, I feel like 2 years late at this point. Yeah.
More than that.
3? Oh, we let those fucking randoms online down. It's like, yeah, just look for this. 3 years later. Where you guys? We've been waiting 3 years. But no, outside of that, collab we have to do, and trying to get Anime North video out. I don't know, I haven't done it yet. I mean, now that I have 2 jobs, I'm going to be busier than ever before because of that. A lot of my free time is very selective now. But that's it for videos. But I will say this. Retro World Expo is confirmed a go. I will be going on Saturday, September 8th. I'd say mostly all day. I will probably record stuff for another video there. But I'll probably get the Anime North video out before that. Also have to clear up some space on my phone, etc. for filming. I'm kind of excited to see it. I mean, I'm probably going to waste a lot of money there, depending on what the vendors have, but it's a con I've wanted in that area that CanadaCon has failed to become,
Are you going to oil up and hit the gym with Norm?
Do you want me to say that to him? Because he's going there.
I'm more so.
Or do you want me to ask him to say on today's episode of the Game Chasers for us?
I thought you were going to say that for Rerez, because he's the one who says that.
Well, Rerez ain't going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe get him to do it.
Just get Norm. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might go to his panel. I just don't know if it was on Saturday
I
or
technically
not.
have Rerez as a friend on Facebook. I could just ask him. Because him and I share videos back and forth, so I technically could just ask him, but I don't know. I'd have to find a good situation.
But yeah, nothing else from me. Like, I don't know in terms of like reviews, like what to do next. It's still mostly like just streaming here and then. I haven't gone back to DMC3 in a while. I should. But again, now that I have 2 jobs, my free time's even less now. because I need the money. Gotta set some priorities straight, but that's life, you know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Retro World Expo. Definitely. Even if I'm only going for one of the 2 days. Maybe following years, maybe some of you guys can come down. I mean, I don't know if a short con's on your guys' list, but
I would like to. I would like to because one, if we could make it like what we did for Kineticons, that'd be great. Of course, you know, I'm not like that's a lot to ask for your family, but if there's a way that we could do it, like that'd be really fun.
Here's the thing. I don't know if Retro World is like every other year, like say Power Morphicon. That's the dream con, by the way. I want it.
Yeah.
God, pipe dream. But if it's every year, because this is the first year I've heard of it, and it seems like they've been active for a couple of years. Like, it's spaced far enough between Anime North and when they would probably do it again, like early September. That's enough time. Whereas Kineticon, it's just like if we try to do both Anime North in that's like money, and it just a lot less time to really plan. So that's totally up to you guys. If you'd be willing to do a 2-day con and then just who knows what.
And then hang out for a few days after that.
Yeah, maybe like 1 day. I don't know. I mean, the good news is I'm like the only sibling in this household, so there's a couple more rooms that are empty. So in theory, it may work out in terms of living space. But
I'm still sleeping on your pool table.
That's still there, but you're gonna have to move the boxes. Also, did you actually sleep on my pool table?
No.
Okay, because that would have made us upset.
Then why would you fucking lie?
I didn't lie. I said I will sleep on the pool table.
Well, yeah. One of you can sleep in my old room.
Your old room doesn't have any ghosts, does it?
It might smell, but that's it.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's it for updates on my end. Zero.
Well, is that who SCR wants to go next?
Do it.
Me?
Hey, I'm a co-host. I can kind of segue too. Come
Okay,
on.
well, I guess Unreal's taking the reins on that one, so I guess I'll go. For me, there's an announcement I made on my Let's Play channel. I'm going to be making another one soon that I'm going to be switching to 1 video a day instead of 2, just because doing 2 videos a day is too much. I'm not going to be stopping power plays or zero plays or anything like that. I'm going to be alternating. So one day it'll be zero plays, one day it'll be a power play style game or terror time or something like that. But I'll alternate back and forth. With exceptions, like if there's a time when the power plays well gets dry, I'll do like a week of zero plays or something like that, or vice versa. But that's what the plan is. There's a lot of changes happening on my end, and it means that I'm probably, because I'll probably have an update out by then, by the time this goes out. But I'm probably going to be changing my streaming times. For those of you who don't know, I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch at about 11 p.m. Eastern time. After next week, or I guess this week, because when this will probably get posted on Monday or Tuesday, I'm thinking of switching to 8 p.m. start times instead of 11 p.m. One, it's just better for people if they want to come watch the stream if it starts way earlier. And 2, gives me more time to actually stream more of the games. And 3, I'm no longer going to be on a shift that I'm going to be at work until 10 o'clock. So I'll be on a better shift. That's what's happening. And what I mean is like shift at work. And the Mega Man 8 review is still in the works. I have filmed sections of it. Still working on the script. I know it's weird that I have stuff filmed before I have the script finalized, but there's a reason for that. And I'll just have to finish that up, get the voiceover done, and get the editing done. And then I've started working on Halloween reviews. I know it's not for a couple of months, but I wanted to get started on it now so I can get them ready in time. And that's about it. Except for Yomacon's coming up. So that's a thing.
And as for me, I went fucking insane this week with editing.
Yes, you did.
And the Evermore video is probably going to be out, well, may be out before this podcast goes up. I just have like a few minutes left to put in, and then get the title card, plop it in, render it, and it'll be done.
I'm excited.
Outside of that, I recorded a couple more Lexibook games. That's still a ways off. Let's see, outside of that, I actually did start writing a little bit for the next SE on after the Evermore video, and oh god, starting to think the Patreon roulette was a bad idea. I mean, it's not that... Okay, I should rephrase that. It's not a bad idea, it's just I keep landing on the shittiest games.
I have to ask, is it one that I suggested?
No.
Okay, then.
No, this is one I suggested.
Well, you can blame no one but yourself on that one.
Yeah, I only have myself to blame for that. Outside of that, I'm actually working on a follow-up of sorts to that EverQuest video I did a while ago. Trying to get that out in maybe a week or two. Not sure if everything's going to come together on that. There's a little extra research I have to do for it. But beyond that, I am going to be going with Angel Halo and Shadow Snake to San Japan this coming weekend. I think they have a couple of panels they're doing. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head though. I can say I'm doing a panel. I think it's Friday afternoon, and it's called Crappy Pasta. It's all spookier in Texas. I mean, last year it went alright, hoping it goes okay this year too. I still have another quote-unquote prize to give out. Kind of curious to see what the reaction will be, because for whatever reason, Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer got a good reaction last year. Might be the best reaction that game has ever received in any context.
Have you informed Mr. Creepypasta what you're doing?
Oh, he knows what I'm doing.
He knows what you're doing? Okay.
But aside from that, that brings us to the end of the podcast. So once again, I'm SCXCR.
I am Unreal.
I am fashionably late CanadianJutsu.
And I'm not gaming news.
Oh, who
So
are you?
real.
Whatever, I'm going back to editing.
Whatever, I got a tutorial for you guys.
Whatever, I'm gonna go play Overwatch with CJ.
Yeah.
But it's all